world. I'm Steve Rao, the host of Pod TV's World Edition, soon to be a part of the Roku network. Live from the All America city of Morrisville, North Carolina, the eighth largest state in the United States of America. I am honored to host this show. Today I must leave early, but I wanted to just open up my monologue with a conversation we're going to be having tomorrow. First of all, 2 years ago today, the coronavirus was first diagnosed in the United States of America. So we are remembering that this pandemic has been with us for 2 years as the Omicron variant rages on. It is getting a little bit better, so there could be light at the end of the tunnel. Americans can now order their COVID test kits at home, and our president's vaccine mandate has been struck down by the Supreme Court. The second thing we will talk about tomorrow is the anniversary of the 46th president of the United States of America. It was on this day 1 year ago that Joseph Robinette Biden took the oath of office that 45 Americans had done before him, that he would preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States to the best of his ability. Since that time, this president has dealt with probably more turbulence and stormy times than even Franklin Roosevelt. He inherited a COVID pandemic, which had been going on for a year, and got to work on vaccinations. He worked quickly through the CARES Act to get money to stimulate the economy, putting money in the hands of the American people, following then the American Rescue Plan. He had successes with the $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill, a bipartisan infrastructure bill that invested in our roads and bridges and necessary infrastructure, including broadband, clean energies, renewable energies, climate change. This followed with his efforts unsuccessfully to get the bipartisan Build Back Better plan. It wasn't bipartisan anymore. And his efforts to get voting rights reform through the John Lewis Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act seemed to be dead on arrival, with Senators Joe Manchin and Sinema standing in the way and standing in support of the filibuster. While I say all of this, we also are having a president dealing with a continued conversation we're seeing on the news story shows. Is American democracy in decline? Before he was inaugurated, we saw an insurrection on the Capitol steps. We still hear former presidents and other senators saying that the election was fraudulently taken by Joe Biden, although there's been no proof. And Republican-led legislatures are affecting the outcomes of elections by changing the electors, possibly by taking away powers from elected officials who manage the elections. All of this has happened in 1 year. I'll say it and I'll say it again. Fareed Zakaria 2 years ago said that when there are decades when nothing happens, and then there are weeks when it seems that decades have happened. I really believe that this last year there has been so much information, so much change, so much turbulence, and this president has only been in office for 1 year. We will be grading him tomorrow. I know we had the worst president of the United States. We'll be talking also about the Russia-Ukraine situation as I analyze that. And next week, we have a special guest, Jeremy Robbins from the newly formed American Immigration Council. Will be talking to us about immigration. And we're working on getting Swadesh Chatterjee for Indian Republic Day, or someone from the government of India. Thank you all so much. I'm going to now bring in Mark Lee, and I'm going to hand it off to him to run the show. Mark, thank you.
No problem. Glad to run the show. Glad to have a great
So,
conversation and
yeah,
everything. You just brought up some very interesting things. And of course, we got our good friend Sasha Starr with us as well. And of course, he might have
wonderful.
some interesting things to say that you might be interested in also. By the way, we had a very lively discussion. I think Sasha will agree with me that it was very lively on yesterday about the world's worst presidents. And definitely Adam was there and a number of others were there, including Peter, giving their point of views. And of course, Sasha did a great job of presenting his point of view as well. And one of the things that has come up in the news recently, and this is where I really want to hear Sasha's ideas and thoughts, is that apparently a person that has not always been seen as being as active as maybe people would like her to be as a vice president has definitely had to get out into the front of a flub that happened yesterday. That being Kamala Harris has gone on the campaign trail to kind of address something that Biden did when he was having his press conference yesterday, where he revealed that NATO is divided on how to respond to a quote unquote minor incursion from Russia. So definitely now they're saying that, if there's any aggressive action, they're prepared to levy serious and severe costs. And it sounds like they're trying to be a little bit more hardline than it has been presented in the past. But Sasha, what's your thoughts about this? You come from that part of the world and everything, but it definitely came out very kind of like try to, I guess, be middle of the ground, or maybe trying to be a little bit moderate, which we know he can be in everything. But a lot of folks are saying that, calling it a minor incursion is not the way to do it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts as one
Well,
that's coming from that part of the world.
I've got to run. I've got to catch a flight out of here, guys. But I will be back tomorrow, tonight. It's a 1 day trip. Um, you know, Make sure you talk about other current events going on. Thank you all
Yeah.
so much. Wherever you are listening in the world, it's an honor to host this show. You're in great hands today. Tomorrow, Biden, Ukraine, Russia, and we're talking about the anniversary of Joe Biden. So save that for the good stuff for tomorrow. Okay.
All right.
And
We'll try to do that and
who's leading
everything.
the worst who's leading the worst president?
Oh, Trump's still in the front
Okay.
and everything, which of course Sasha will be glad
That's
to
good to
know
hear.
about. But we added two interesting candidates. One of those was added because of one of the founders of the network, but they were saying that they're not the biggest fan of Honest Abe. So we did add Honest Abe to the list. As of now, Honest Abe has no votes. But the candidates right now are Clinton, Trump. We also added a popular favorite among the Republicans, that being Mr. Reagan, and we have also added Honest Abe. But all of those have gotten votes, including Mr. Reagan, but Honest Abe, no votes as of yet.
Well,
No,
guys, I will
no
see you.
threats to Trump so far. I think the only people who can challenge Trump are Stalin, Hitler, Mao Zedong. So you need real heavyweights. Without that, Trump is, of course, he's in the class by himself. Nobody can touch him. I'm pretty sure.
Definitely in a class by himself and everything. But I was wondering, what are your thoughts about this whole Ukraine situation and the U.S. handling it? Do you agree that what happened this particular time was another misstep by Biden in the sense of calling it a minor incursion?
Um, why would you think that it's a misstep by Biden? In which way?
Well, I mean, because a lot of people are wondering probably about that kind of terminology. Because, if you're calling it minor, that implies that you are saying that it's not a significant thing that we need to be dealing with. And I think that that's why Kamala Harris is backpedaling, because she's basically saying that if they make a step against this country that used to be part of their union, that they will have to have some sort of reaction, not necessarily military reaction, but it could be reaction in the sense of boycotts or tariffs or something along, well, not even tariffs, but boycotts definitely, but
I,
something that
I,
was,
I must admit that I never heard Biden speaking a while back when he was in a vice president position or just a senator, and I'm not familiar with his style. But it seems to me that as of today, he has difficulties expressing himself. He's not coming clear unless it's prepared speech. If it's prepared speech, he's doing very well. Now, if it's not prepared speech or it's like a momentum situation where something has to be said, he's not doing a great job. He's not mumbling. He's doing, but he's not precise, I must admit. And his choice of words is he's not on the top of his game, unfortunately. So whatever he says ad lib has to be clarified, corrected, explained, and so on. That's an unfortunate situation. So if American voters uh, disagree with that, they will have their choice in 1924, in 2024 to elect somebody who has a better speaking style, so to speak, among other things. And I'm not so sure if Biden would even, uh, if he should really run for re-election.
Mm.
I'm not so sure
Yeah,
because
you know,
no, he, you know what, he, you can argue that he hasn't done any crucial mistakes so far, and that he's doing okay. But um, I really don't understand the reason for a distinguished man who had a fine career, got a pinnacle of it all, became president of the United States. I really don't see what else he can achieve. Do you think he will become a better communicator in at his age? Probably not. So there must be some considerations for him to just let it go and get somebody else. Not necessarily Kamala Harris, but maybe her, maybe somebody else, to continue the fight. If Democrats will face Trump, I think Trump is not electable at all after everything what he's done. Everything is on record. I'm pretty sure he will be indicted at least once, most likely many times before upcoming election. So I don't think that Trump is that stupid to go for election. Now, mind you, he controls Republican Party. He controls the base. So it will be probably up to him to appoint his appointee, whoever will run for presidency from the so-called Republican Party, and that's probably the maximum what and energize the base to support whoever candidate he will appoint to run. Um, and I can't even see clearly who it will be because
I can't.
he's now fighting with many Republican would-be candidates like DeSantis and many others, and so both it remains to be seen. Or maybe he will actually decide to go and run himself, but that may not be even possible because of the indictments that
Yeah.
are hanging in there and just about to fall. He lost yesterday. The Supreme Court decision was 8-1. Believe
Mm.
it or not. So all these little judges appointed by Trump, they all voted against him. Believe it or not, it's incredible. So
Well, they
now
know.
all the papers have to be turned to January 6th Commission, and that's the end of the deal. I don't know where Trump can uh, ask for the better judgment or to appeal Supreme Court decision. Maybe he could approach Putin to say, "Look, help your friend. I'm in trouble. I need your help. Say that Supreme Court was wrong,
Yeah.
and if they will not change their mind, I will send all these rockets and bombs and everything else. So help me."
Help him.
Maybe that will work.
You bring up a couple of interesting questions I'm curious about your thoughts on. One is that even as we mentioned on the world's worst president yesterday, there is these different divides, whether it's on race, whether it's on abortion issues or women's issues, or whether it's even over vaccinations and things along that line. If by chance, and hopefully this does not happen, but if by chance, I mean, people didn't think he was going to win the first time, he was to run and win, and he would be only the second person, I think, that has accomplished that and everything along those lines. Do you think that we would head into like some sort of civil war, or that the country could even survive a second Trump administration? Because of, as you said, he has a very strong base, but there is also a very active base and a lot of folks that are very much adamantly against Mr. Trump. So I was just wondering, if he was to win, could the country survive 4 more years of him?
Um, well, the um, the civil war could be even Trump will not run and will not win. Therefore, there still could be a war because there are a lot of people. 70% of Republicans believe that there was a stolen election. Right now, if that's the case, then they believe that they live in a country with no proper election. In fact, it's all big lie perpetuated by Biden and Democrats, and therefore they have to be punished one way or another, and especially if they will win election of 2024. Um, so there still could be. Now, the only thing is, I think that their leadership, the people who actually could lead Republicans to real war, people like white supremacists, like QAnon, like Oath Keepers, and also they're being decimated right now by U.S. courts. And I think by the time of the 2024 election, there will be no people um, outside of jails to actually lead that war. And without that leadership, the war will not happen. Who are going to fight um, for Trump? Our esteemed panelist from yesterday? They're not going to do
No,
that.
they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that
They're
at all.
themselves victims of Facebook and all this stuff. And one of them said once that he still believes that there was a lie, that the election was stolen.
Hmm.
I would ask any proof. Show me the proof. Forget about
Exactly.
Facebook. Show me the real proof. Oh, real proof. Oh, I don't have one, but everybody's talking about that. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. President Biden actually, when he was talking yesterday on his press conference, also talked about people that were questioning his mental ability, saying he has no idea why a recent poll shows a large percentage of Americans are questioning his cognitive function. And, the reporter asked him that. And he was basically like, look, I think I'm still as solid as I've ever been. And he definitely said that he was not going to actually respond. He smiled and scoffed at the statement as he continued saying a majority of the Democrats responded strongly, affirmed that statement, and I'll let you all make the judgment whether they're correct. And Biden actually turned 79 in November. I do know that as you get older, sometimes things do aren't as sharp as they used to be. But do you think that this is an issue that a reporter should have even brought up, as this is only his first year and he's got 3 more years? So, what is your thoughts about even the reporter bringing up these statistics? And do you think that's part of a fair thing to even be brought up in the political landscape?
I wouldn't put a lot of weight into that. It's you're talking about the one reporter, and what strikes me is the fact that in this age, the president has to be, I wouldn't say just as Trump, but more tuned into social media and be more proactive. And in fact, you see what Trump did. One thing I think I would afford him some credits for is that he energized his base with the constant rallies, the communications on Twitter, which is no longer available to him, but at least it was for most of the time he was president. So he energized that, and he was always in the news, and he was always here. So even people who hated him and couldn't stand this creature, even they were sort of like following him, because you cannot stop following something that is always in front of you. It's on television, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, and all those followers, all those people who are doing posts and paraposts and more posts. And what I noticed, I have a lot of friends of mine. Some of them are for Trump and some of them are against Trump. Well, those who are against Trump, okay, so we know that he's a bad man. Okay, it's the end of the story. What else you would say? Now, those who are pro-Trump, they are posting and writing all kind of messages all the time, during the day, during the night. They call each other and discuss the latest bit of news or so on. So they are much, way more active than Biden's supporters. And that energy, it translates into something, because as I always used to say, the most important thing in life, especially in politics, is the
Mhm.
passion.
Right.
So if you have a half electorate who is passionate about something, and the other half has no passion whatsoever, guess who is going to win?
Yeah, you got a point about that and everything. By the way, Spectra Nation, who I think has been commenting for a couple of days now, has saying that he side-skirted the media and then let the media, narrate what he was saying. They also said that it's still early and everything, and they loved your observation. They said, great observation. So Spectra Nation was giving you a lot of praise and all of that, and they were coming at us from Twitch, it looks like, in that regards and all of that. So definitely you're always giving some great insights, and I'm always glad to hear them as well. One of the other things I want to come back to Ukraine is that they have said that some of our countries that we back in that region, they have said that it's been cleared for them to send U.S. missiles to the Ukraine. That including Lithuania, which I understand we have listeners in, Latvia, and Estonia. So, what are your thoughts? Should we even be thinking about having third-party countries that are our allies sending weapons to the Ukraine? Because apparently they've made the decision that this is something that we could do, and this could be leading up to something that you say is quite possible to happen in our lifetime. I thought that I would never say that, but a nuclear war and all of that. So, do you think that we could be heading towards some sort of nuclear war if that was to happen? And what are your thoughts about this move to do third-party weapons and all of that? Because apparently we've cleared that can happen.
Mark, I wanted to feel better about nuclear war. It's not as scary as most people think. The latest discoveries of especially Russian scientists show that with today's arsenal, uh, first of all, don't forget that there is a limited tactical nuclear war,
Mhm.
which will have very little losses except the usual losses during the wartime. Now, even if there will be all-out exchange with the number of warheads available today, it's not nearly enough to kill all mankind as it used to be
Mhm.
just 40, 50 years ago. So today there is no such arsenal exist. So they calculate that there will be a loss of say 50 million people. I'm skeptical about that number because that number could be way much more than that. I would think it would be at least five times as many people would die and a lot of people would be maimed and suffering for the rest of their lives. So, while saying that it's not the end of mankind, I'm still much against it in any shape, form, and I think it will be a great tragedy if it will come to that. Now, in the last couple of days, certain things made me to believe that most likely it's not going to happen. And the reason why I'm saying that is, many years ago, I think Clinton said it's economy stupid. So
Right.
that's what's happening to Russia right now. A couple of days ago, their stock market. I mean, the stock markets were quite weak in the last 2 weeks, and I discussed it on Financial Show. And many exchanges went down to 2%, 1.5%, 3%, some of them. Some stocks went down even 5%, if not 10. But guess what? No stock in the world, no market in the world in the last, I don't know, probably 200 years, I'm joking, lost 15% in one single day, as
Mm.
did Russia just
Mm.
2 days ago.
Well,
So here is a clear message. So you want to go for war and you want to fight for Ukraine, for whatever else you want to fight. But if your stock market will go down 15% a day, how many days do you think you can stay around, dear comrade?
yeah,
Not to
that's actually
believe it or not. I mean, your own people will just strangle you and just will take you out of Kremlin because they don't want to lose 15% a day.
they
It's
definitely don't. They
more
definitely won't.
than Mr. Putin. 15% a day. It's worse than 50 million people killed in a nuclear exchange. How can you survive? So 50 million people even killed. So there are still 7.5 billion people. Okay, now minus 50 million, so it's less, but still will be alive, supposedly, according to our friend's calculation. But you cannot lose 15% a day because it's only 1 week and then it's zero. You can't do that.
Our good friend Spectre Nation has a good question. I'll do the editing for him and everything. But he was asking, don't you think the drums of war are to scare so they can do their great reset of the money? And speaking of reset of money, that's actually one of the questions I was going to ask you as well, because I keep hearing people talk about the wonders of cryptocurrency and NFTs. And I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan of that and everything, but I'm hearing more and more people talk about it as part of this monetary reset and giving more people control of their money and having more control. And I've even seen like some major corporations. I think I just heard Nike has gone into the NFT business. I know Walmart has gone into the cryptocurrency business. And I just wondering, are we going to see more of these corporations having their own money? I mean, it used to be that they would all have gift cards. Now it sounds like they're all going to have cryptocurrencies, which might be the same thing. But I was just wondering, is this going to be a great reset that we're going to see, as Spectre Nation was saying?
Great reset, and what you said that people would control their own money. In a country of United States where 70% of the people cannot put together $1,000 on a black day when they really need it,
Right.
what kind of reset of what money? You
Mm.
cannot reset of money if you don't have money in the first place. There's no reset. So you're talking about 30% of more or less well-to-do American who would reset their money, but do they really need it? Do people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos do they need reset of their money? Probably not. I never heard about that they are looking to reset their money. They have, Elon Musk could be a first trillionaire ever. So why why does he need to reset anything? If he is clearly in a few years he will be first trillionaire ever. So I don't buy that. Now with the cryptocurrencies, uh, I think it's a fad. I don't believe in seriousness of this as a class asset. I don't care how many people are buying into it and believing into it or so on. I just it's not sustainable. I think it will be going on for another 2, maybe 3 years, and it will just there's no practical use. Just you're buying something that you believe will go up in value. I mean, I probably materials like gold probably have a better chance to go higher in value and represent something viable. So, although I must admit that cryptos attracted some money away from gold, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure that in the last few months there was a switch of some funds, maybe some individuals, from gold asset to cryptos. But I think very soon they will switch back to gold.
Well, Spectre was making some other comments to us and everything. He was making a correction. He says that no, he meant that the central banks want to reset the money because they have no wars and their books have way too much regulatory negative percentage on their books. So negative percentage on their books. And he was also saying that the Federal Reserve money has nothing back in it. It's a debt currency. So I think that might have been talking about cryptocurrency and all along those lines. So would you agree with his assessment of that, as that was one of our listeners that was chiming in on the conversation?
Well, I'm following the bank reports, like other companies as well, and their reports, even latest was J.P. Morgan a couple of weeks ago. It was it was rather negative report, and their stock lost, I think, 2.5% as a result of that, or so on. But they're still awash with cash, and they're financially in a great position. It was just that they didn't report as much profit as it was hoped for. So, but they were still profitable, and so many other banks. Like, in fact, I've heard I'm getting a lot of financial papers and publications and so on. So. some of the people, the analysts that I sort of trust their opinion, and I've read their remarks many times before, and most of the times they were right. So they're believing, actually, a few of them, that the bank's shares undervalued right now, and they cited even the same J.P. Morgan and the other banks, notable banks I'm talking about, like Morgan Stanley and several others in that categories. Citibank, one of them, that they believe that their shares are underappreciated, undervalued, and most likely will move higher, especially if interest rates will go higher. And it's good for banks because they can get loans at a bigger rate of return. So. So I really don't see that. Now, don't forget also that the banks. Mm, I mean, usually the thinking is that the war is good for economy because you have to generate more uh, arms and hardware and so on. So there are effects, and at least so far, that's how it works. Nowadays, you can ask a question why it should be different this time.
Mhm.
Because everything is so entangled, and I really don't see how you can imagine a war when one Russia has no allies except usual suspects like, of course, China, North Korea, and Iran. That's it. That's their allies. And you're talking about the rest of the world.
Yep.
It's not just US. It's not. It's European Union. It's just you even don't know where to start. So what kind of war it's going to be? How it's going to be fought? Which way? So Russia might as well go for all-out war because to win conventional wars, they're just not capable, and they can't. And now the latest what I heard about Russian diplomacy, they lost on all fronts. They didn't get satisfaction from all their stupid demands and so on. They didn't get anywhere, not even an inch. So now the latest what I heard is they're begging to give them some paper that would said that in the next, I don't know, 10 years, Ukraine will not be a member of NATO. But even that they cannot get.
Wow.
Now Putin has to go to meet Chairman Xi with no paper, no results. All this posturing and all these ultimatums and all on, it's nothing but garbage. So how he can what he's gonna say to Chairman Xi? Chairman Xi will tell him just go away and never
Well,
come back. So
sounds like that's what's going on there. And I know that Spectre was adding something else about our banks. He was saying that the banks have to have 2% of the gold, and now the law states that they have to have 7% on hand of their gold papers. So he was actually adding the gold. I guess the percentage has been risen and all of that. So I don't know if you've been hearing that kind of thought or not, but definitely it'll be interesting. I had thought about getting gold at some point, never did. So maybe I'll get a gold bar or something and figure out how to make me some money, or get with Sasha and learn more about investment so I can make some real money and things along that line. So definitely I know he does a really good job of that. I'm curious to hear what you've got to say about what's going on, or if you've heard anything more about our favorite Serbian and the tennis world, because I've not been following that, but I know you have, so I don't know if there's any new news in that regards. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring up a quick commercial of one of our sponsors who is also involved with the whole network. So we're going to bring up something about a national pension and see what this is all about, and maybe a little bit about the tax account as well. If we're going to try to make it to that at least 45-minute mark, it may be an abbreviated version since it's just me and Sasha, but we're going to come back after these commercials and see where
sure.
this takes us and everything.
One of the things that business owners forget a lot is to prepare for their own retirement.
Hi, my name's Nick Palavita, and today I'm with a very special guest, a certified financial planner, a chartered retirement plan specialist, and president of National Pension Partners, Max Couliet. Max, tell me what you do at National Pension Partners.
Well, Nick, we help successful small businesses and professionals put together retirement plans that provide them the maximum retirement benefits and big tax deductions at the same time.
Well, how do you do this?
Well, we get on an internet conferencing system with the client. We review their goals, what they want to accomplish, and then put together strategies to help them in implementing a retirement plan that benefits them, not everybody else.
Well, that sounds really good, but how much does this cost?
Well, it's really not bad because the first consultation is free. That allows us to go through and discover whether this strategy works for that business and for you as the business owner and helping you maximize your retirement.
Well, Max, how do we get this free appointment?
It's really pretty simple, Nick. You can either go to our website below or call us at 877-252-1692, and then we can set up a time with either myself, Nick, or one of our other retirement plan specialists, another CPA or advisor in the office to go over this with you and make sure it fits for you.
Hi, my name is Lewis Haupt. I work with National Pension Partners, and I work with businesses to allow them to put the maximum away that they can for themselves and to save taxes.
Hi, I'm Brad Coyle, and I'm the brokerage manager at National Pension Partners. We're always analyzing plan fund choices in order to ensure the participant's success.
If you want more information on how we can help you and your business put more money away in a retirement plan than you ever thought possible, contact us at the website below or call us at 877-252-.
I think I know that person. He does that show that's over there next to me and everything. So you got any great chess folks coming on this coming weekend or things that we need to know about? And that's tied into the game of chess. And I know that you are definitely a big time chess player and a big time chess fan. So do we have any amazing guests coming in that chess platform this weekend?
Yeah, we have, so far we have confirmation from Grandmaster Stuart Atalik. He will be with us. And unfortunately, Ken Regan, the Professor Regan from FIDE, he is attending a meeting of FIDE in Italy. So he will be back next Saturday, unfortunately, and our usual contributors as well. So we'll have a lot of fun. Right now, there's a big Tata Steel tournament in Wyk aan Zee, Holland. So we are following this tournament, of course. The world champion Carlsen is playing, and it's very, very interesting tournament. Unlike Australian Open, when the first number one in the world, Novak Djokovic, is not playing. And right now, obviously, the heavy favorite to win now is Mr. Medvedev. From Russia. Daniil Medvedev is by far the heavy favorite right now. I think he was a favorite even if Djokovic would play, because the way he demolished him in New York last US Open, I don't think why would Novak did much better in Australia. But at least he had a chance would he elect to play. But obviously his stubbornness about his view on vaccination, his vocal anti-vaxxer. So now he's lost his chance to win the Australian Open. There are some other majors, of course, like French Open and Wimbledon, US Open, but I'm not sure how he's going to mitigate to play in these tournaments while being unvaccinated. Unless something will drastically change, and that's what I've heard from UK, I think that they're planning from next week to abandon all the requirements to wear masks and to do vaccines and everything else. It's just a talk, or it's going to be implemented, remains to be seen. But maybe that's an approach, because what's happening today, more and more people getting sick. So maybe the strategy is just to get sick as many people as possible and get herd immunity. But I'm skeptical about that, because I don't understand what's the evidence that once you'll get Omicron and got sick and got mm, cured, what are the chances that you develop the antibodies for this specifically Omicron version? Never mind other versions that might be available. But I'm not so sure about this herd immunity concept. If it's
You know,
applicable here, I don't know.
one of the things I've been hearing and been, people just kind of like speaking their thoughts, and sometimes it's not based on fact whatsoever, but maybe they've got other ideas than what I'm hearing. But there are some people that are saying that even your natural immunities may do better than the vaccines. I've actually heard that put out by a couple of sources, including some medical sources. So then you have to wonder why people are wondering to get the boosters and other things. And there are even some people that are saying that part of that is a push by the pharmacy industry to actually make more money and all of that. Because I've heard a couple people say that they have, definitely had the whole different variants, and they have even had the vaccine or not had the vaccine and then run into problems that way. So I was just wondering, what are your thoughts about natural immunity as an alternative to these vaccines that we have? Because I'm hearing some people speculate that natural immunity may even be more effective than the vaccines, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on that line.
Ask relatives of 850,000 people dead in United States of America what they think about natural immunity of their closest people who just died last year and a half or 2 years or so. What is the proof that natural immunity protects you better than the shots, the first, second, and now booster? What is the evidence of that? There is an evidence that these shots are protecting you. Now, from first stamps, the protection was as high as 90%, I believe. Mm-hmm. Now, with this Omicron, it's not as good as 90%. It's maybe 60% or so. But most importantly, most of the vaccinated people, in case of getting Omicron, they don't have it as in so harsh a form as as unvaccinated people do. So it's very seldom that they're getting in a hospital. Even if they are in a hospital, it's very seldom that they are getting into emergency care or dying. I mean, there are cases that they could die, they could get to emergency, but it's a very small percentage compared to unvaccinated. There in Toronto, in Ontario, there are many hospitals where most of the people, COVID-related illness, most of them, close 75-80%, are unvaccinated people. So the vaccinated people, and there is a huge majority of people in Ontario are vaccinated with 2 or 3 doses. So they're taking a very relatively small number of spaces. Most of the spaces are being taken by unvaccinated people. So what supports this theory that natural immunity is protecting you better than the shots? Where it's coming from? What's the proof?
Yeah, it's interesting to see who's got that theory and how that's working and everything, but it'll be fascinating to see what happens in that regards, because a lot of people are very much surprised by it and are trying to figure out what's happening in that regard. But people have all kinds of theories, and it's kind of like that whole flat Earth theory, which I know you've also mentioned as well, because there are still people in the world that think that the Earth is flat, and I think there might even be some flat Earth societies out here as well. But that doesn't mean that it's true. Well, it's just what the theories are that folks have, and I agree with you. I need to see further proof, but I do think that there are things within our diets that can maybe help us in the battle in terms of that. But I don't think that it needs to necessarily stop the vaccination process as well. I know that I've got my double vaccinations, but I still am thinking about getting the booster, and we'll probably do that in the very near future. I know that I think all my family members have, now that I think about it. well, the nephews maybe not, because they just recently got their vaccinations as young people, since the age went down and all of that. But it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. And have you gotten your booster yet?
No, I haven't gotten my booster yet because the Moderna is available. I can get it in next half an hour. But if I want Pfizer, which I did the first two shots, they were Pfizer. So you have to wait until next supply is coming, probably at the end of this week or so. So I think I will wait. But I want to just tell you a little bit about this. Because people are communicating, most of the communications today is on Facebook. There are some other mediums, but Facebook is still number one and probably will remain so. Now, if you put information on that the vaccines are good for you, they're protecting you, or so on, how many likes are you going to get? Not too many. Is anybody going to post this? Probably not. Now, once you say negative information that the vaccines kills, that vaccines are very bad for you, you're losing your immunity, you're this and that, you're getting thousands of likes instantly. All your posts will be multiplied and so on. So you will get very popular. And a lot of people, trust me, a lot of people are natural losers and their life isn't Facebook. They don't have real life. They're on the Facebook and the getting likes. That's all what they're living for. That's the goal of their life. They don't have any other life except being on Facebook and do something to generate as many likes as possible. That's why they're living. This is the only purpose in their life. So the negative information, unlike positive, is getting you a lot of likes. And it goes on and on and on. So I can understand where this all coming from. In fact, in the last couple of days, there were exposed a group of doctors in Ontario that were spreading the anti-vaxxers information, and for a certain fee, they could generate a document that would allow you not to do the vaccine. So you could still be eligible to go to different events, restaurants, or whatever you might want to go through this. So now they're being exposed, their names are there, they will be prosecuted, and most likely they will lose their doctor's license. That's okay, but I'm pretty sure they made some money. I'm pretty sure they got a lot of likes. So they're happy campers. They will have some complications, though, and very soon.
Yeah, speaking of happy campers, I did hear that the government, I think it's a Biden order and everything, has recently put out that they wanted you to be able to get for free the more heavier kind of mask. I forgot what it's called. I know
N95.
Right. So they were going to make them free and available and everything to the public. I think Walmart is the one that's distributing them. So I'm hoping that more and more people will be grabbing those, and because it sounds like they're trying to make them massively appealed and to go out to the entire world and everything. So what do you think about this effort on a federal level to make those masks available and maybe make some other things available as well? It sounds like a great idea to me, but some folks are even still being stubborn about wearing the mask.
It's I think it's a good initiative. I think people who are wearing masks, they will most likely switch to N95. From what I understand, they're free. Now, people who are not wearing masks, they're not going to wear any mask whatsoever, N95 or N96 or N255 or whatever. They are not going to do that. That's a fact of life, and nothing will change it.
Yeah, you're right about that. But hopefully, folks will get that idea and everything. Like I said, I was going to try to make it all the way to the top of the hour. And it looks like we've almost done that. Is there anything else in terms of news that you think folks would be interested in hearing about, that you have read about or studied and all of that? By the way, I do know that this weekend will be very much a lot of folks watching, as they did last weekend, the NFL playoffs. And I know that for a lot of people, football is more of that game that is sometimes called soccer here in the U.S. and everything. But I was just wondering, but there was a very active at one time Canadian Football League. I know that actually my uncle played in that league, and he's still living here in Durham, but he remembers playing for one of the teams and really enjoying his time up there in Canada and all of that. But I was just wondering, both when you were in the Ukraine and when you were now in Canada, are folks really following the NFL? And if so, if you've got any favorites in what's going on?
Not really. My first love is soccer, and when I was young, I used to play a lot of soccer. And sometimes I wouldn't attend a school for just playing soccer with my friends and so on. So I follow soccer quite a bit, and I was watching occasionally the American football or so, and sorry to say, there's no comparison. The skill level, the enjoyment of the game is just. I don't want to even discuss what's a huge difference. There is one. But those people who are not exposed to soccer and they love and they're used to American football, if they don't have nothing better to do, they should obviously get their dose of football and be happy about it. So good luck to them.
Sounds good. And I know a lot of folks will be doing that. They'll be checking that football game out and checking out how that's going to happen and all of that. Well, it's been good spending this almost hour with you and everything. I think I'm going to put on a couple of more of our spots and everything along those lines. But we'll be back with Steve on tomorrow. But we've almost made it to the top of the hour. So I think we did good. So once again, it's been good having this conversation with you. And we'll come back and discuss more world issues. And who knows, maybe Spectrum Nation and others will join us later. I'm really curious what this coming soon ad is. So I think I'm going to play the tax accountant one and this coming soon and see what it is that we've got coming soon. So apparently something's coming soon to the network and all of that. But definitely great having this conversation with you, and look forward to seeing you back here again with me and Steve, and maybe Nick will be here with us as well, and Kim also. I do think Nick said he had an appointment today, but hopefully they'll be back here and can engage in some more great dialogue, and we'll let folks know how those scores are going, because the last time I checked, like I said, and you were correct, Trump was still winning. Like I said, definitely Reagan had a couple of votes, Clinton had a couple of votes, and definitely Reagan might have only had one vote. But I got to double check and look again at the stats. But definitely the other one that had no votes was Honest Abe. But that's because Kim hasn't voted yet, since she's the one that came up with the idea to throw him on to the list and everything. Because apparently there's something about his background that she's not a big fan of. But maybe we'll find out more about that at our next show next week, about the world's worst presidents and all of that.
But by the way, I would suggest something, Mark. If you will do next so-called the program about the worst businessmen in the United States, Trump will take first place there just as well.
Okay.
So he will be not only the worst president, but also the worst businessman just as well.
No, I agree with you. And I was actually surprised that one of our panelists was talking about how great of a business person he was, and that he only failed in like 9 or 10 businesses. And the stats that I had seen, or maybe they said 11, but still 11 out of several hundred is a low percentage. But I've heard that it has been a lot greater failure than they were trying to make it sound.
I would like to get that list of 180 businesses that he ever had. I would like to get a list how actually many businesses he had, because most of the businesses were failures. Some of them, and not some of them, but a lot of them, they were nothing but scam. Right. There was one condominium in Toronto where had the name of Trump Hotel and condominium. They got deposits from many people, and then there is no condominiums, there is no money, and Trump says, "Oh, sorry, I just landed my name. I'm not involved in that." Right. So he enabled to some scammers to get the money and run. And this is a lot, and it's not just in Toronto. There are many other real estate developments run and operated the same way. That's the type of a president that the United States elected almost twice. Once in 2016, and many people believe that he won the election of 2020, but he was deprived of his fruits of his labor by Democrats, unfortunately.
Well, I definitely agree, but it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, hey, we made it even further. So I'm going to definitely look and play these ads, and that's going to get us on out of here. So I think we're going to make it all the way to the top of the hour. Thanks, Sasha. This has been a great conversation, and I look forward to learning more from you next week as well. As a matter of fact, you did such a good job. I think I'm going to put on another one of the spots so that folks can see how they can catch the show of the chess show. So I'm going to do that one, the tax accountant, and whatever the coming soon is, and get us on out of here.
And have a good trading day. Today's Dow Jones is doing very well, and hopefully it will be some kind of a recovery from last 2 weeks of quite heavy losses. All the best.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
One of the things that business owners forget a lot is to prepare for their own retirement.
Hi, my name's Nick Palavita, and today I'm with a very special guest, a certified financial planner, a chartered retirement plan specialist, and president of National Pension Partners, Max Quilliet. Max, tell me what you do at National Pension Partners.
Well, Nick, we help successful small businesses and professionals put together retirement plans that provide them the maximum retirement benefits and big tax deductions at the same time.
Well, how do you do this?
Well, we get on an internet conferencing system with the client. We review their goals, what they want to accomplish, and then put together strategies to help them in implementing a retirement plan that benefits them, not everybody else.
Well, that sounds really good, but how much does this cost?
Well, it's really not bad because the first consultation is free. That allows us to go through and discover whether this strategy works for that business and for you as the business owner, and helping you maximize your retirement.
Well, Max, how do we get this free appointment?
It's really pretty simple, Nick. You can either go to our website below or call us at 877-252-1692, and then we can set up a time with either myself, Nick, or one of our other retirement plan specialists, another CPA or advisor in the office, to go over this with you and make sure it fits for you.
Hi, my name is Lewis Haupt. I work with National Pension Partners, and I work with businesses to allow them to put the maximum away that they can for themselves and to save taxes.
Hi, I'm Brad Coyle, and I'm the brokerage manager at National Pension Partners. We're always analyzing plan fund choices in order to ensure the participant's success.
If you want more information on how we can help you and your business put more money away in a retirement plan than you ever thought possible, contact us at the website below or call us at 877-252-1692.